Okay, going live now.
Okay, guys, here we are. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. We're going to be talking this morning about our famous $0 marketing strategy and how it's revolutionized the industry. I'm the ringleader, so listen up. A bit tongue-tied there. How are you? Good
You got
morning.
it now. Hello, hello. Yes, it's not an easy word to say. Revolutionize the industry.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Um, it's been a game changer, Billy. I want to just talk about where this all came from, this whole $0 marketing strategy,
Mm,
because we all use it within the office. The main thing that I want to draw down on here is just how helpful it has been to the people. And by the people, I mean the people that are selling their properties. So, where it started, Billy, the $0 marketing strategy, I came into sales 7 years ago now. And I
mm,
have to say, I was floored that the only option out there was for vendors to pay what we call the industry calls VPA, vendor paid advertising. So, regardless of whether you wanted your property on the portals or you didn't want your property on the portals, it was give me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I'll get your property out to the market. But there were so many vendors that were saying, well, hang on a sec. I'm not even sure if I want to sell because if I don't get the right price, I'm not really wanting to sell my property. And
yeah,
I certainly don't want to be spending all of that money. And the other thing is, a lot of sellers just don't want this digital footprint. The minute you go onto those real estate portals, you get a stamp that you have been on the market. And that stamp goes right across a lot of data sources. So if it doesn't sell, you pull your property off the market and decide to pop it back on a few months later, it's actually it's embedded into the data sources that your property was on the market. So we came up with this $0 marketing strategy. Do you want to talk a little bit more about it, Billy?
yeah. And to us, it seems so normal because it's what
Yeah.
we use all day, every day, and it's way 60 or 70% of our properties will start. The first two
Mm,
weeks of their campaign will be exclusive to our database, which is very, very well refined and curated from properties that have been on the market, buyers that have missed out on other properties, buyers that have called in and said, "Can you keep me in mind for something similar?" So we've got a really, really well refined machine where we stay in contact with these buyers probably better than anyone else. As a team, we've got buyer specialists dedicated to just looking after people. I mean, people pay for that service. It's known as a buyer's agent within the industry, but we do it for free. We stay close to these guys through their search. And when properties come up for the first week or two, generally an owner will opt into what we call our plan A, $0 marketing, where they don't have that digital footprint, but they do have the
yeah.
access to these really, really qualified buyers through our website, through our database, and through our social media. And that's where it all began.
And it's been a game changer. It honestly has been a game changer. I remember I'd only been about a year in sales, and we had Leanne Pilkington, who is the president of the Real Estate Institute of Australia, and we had Leanne on, and we were trying to come up with this word because she's like, "This is insane what you're doing." Like, it has really been a game changer for the industry.
Mm.
And we're like, "What are we going to call it? What are we going to call it?" Anyway, we came up with a name, and we named it pre-market. And when we first started referring to pre market selling with our $0 marketing strategy, a lot of people had no idea what we were talking about. But I think, we can confidently say that that name pre market has rippled right through the industry now. I see people all over the country using that pre market word, but
Yeah.
that is how we actually defined it. So, and look, I think it's important to point out a few things. First of all, we call it a $0 marketing strategy. It doesn't cost the vendor, it does cost the company. We pay for out of my own pocket when I'm doing the $0 marketing. I'm paying for professional photos by a professional photographer.
Yeah.
So that saves $950. a professional signboard if the vendor wants one. Sometimes in that pre-market phase, they actually don't want a signboard, but it's there on offer for them. And that's at a cost of $450 out of our own pocket. And then going out to the database, I think the database is such an overused word in the real estate industry because everyone's got a database. You know, you wouldn't have a business in real estate if you didn't have one. But the way we go out, the way it's so curated, and we go out to a very um, curated database, you know, that cannot be underestimated. That takes hours and hours and hours just to curate the database for that property. And that's done in in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, of course, we're all doing our social media. That's the stuff that you guys are seeing coming out to you first on our social media channels, those raw videos. What do you reckon about those raw videos, Billy? I know you do a lot of them.
Yeah, it's been a helpful platform, if I'm honest, a not really to be what people think it might be. I think people hear and see a lot of social media as the glitz and the
Mm.
glam of the industry, but I use it as a very different tool. It's much more of a library, a bank of video content that buyers can tune into for these insights as to what's coming soon. And I use it as a
Yeah.
platform where the videos are stored. When I take a call, they say, "Can you show me through?" I say, "Let's start with the video. Here you go, just so you've got something to look at whilst I organise an appointment for you," and we go from there. The responsiveness from the reps, you know, in our team has always been a big point of difference. But then to be backed up with the video content behind it has been super helpful. Buyers love it. It's a specialized audience as well. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter about how many viewers you've got because at the end of the day, only one person buys the property as well. So when you hang on to a really good buyer and you know they're going to buy, you show them enough properties, they fall in love with you just as much as the property when they find the right place. And people come back to the feeling of it felt like the right place or it felt like the right time. We're a part of that as an agent. You can be a part of that process.
100%. And, you know, I'm always saying the people vote, right? At the end of the day, the people vote. It's not about what the real estate industry wants. You know, it's about what do the people want. And by that, I mean, what does the community want? What do the sellers want? What do the buyers want? No buyer has ever been unhappy that we delivered to them a property pre-market using our $0 marketing strategy before it hit the real estate portals. No one was ever upset about that. You're winning hearts everywhere. We're getting it out to them fast as well. Instant media. You know, we're getting those properties out to them much faster than we could ever launch it out to the real estate portals. Not to say we
Yeah.
don't use the portals, because we do. And then the sellers love it because there was never an opportunity for a seller to get their property out in front of thousands, hundreds of thousands of buyers without having to spend any money. So we're saying, don't give us anything. There's no risk on you. Let us go out and try. We're going to invest and take money out of our own pocket and let's see what result we can get. And the results are astronomical. So about 70% of the properties that we sell are sold utilising that plan A, that $0 marketing strategy. And Billy, I want to
Yeah.
point out something. They're not sold cheaply. Why, as a real estate agent, would we want to go and sell a property for a vendor cheaply? Those
Yeah.
properties are only being sold pre-market using that $0 marketing strategy if we're smashing it out of the ballpark on price. And a buyer is very happy to overpay to secure that property before it launches out to the real estate portals and potentially going out to auction. Think about it, guys. And I know there's a lot of real estate agents that tune in. How many times is a property sold pre-auction? Pre-auction.
Yeah.
It's sold pre-auction because there was a great price, a great buyer, a buyer was happy, a vendor was happy, and the deal was done. Um, Billy, before we wrap this up, I actually just want to talk about how ideal this $0 marketing strategy is for properties that have already been on the market with other real estate agents. We've just had this situation just the other week.
Yeah.
How many times have we done a cleanup? Bad word, but it is what it is. Off the back of another agency that's had a property on the market maybe for too long, and then we came along and delivered that $0 marketing strategy.
It's refreshing. That's probably the number one word vendors say to me that you've got another choice, another option, and you're not the same as everyone else asking for a big marketing check and the same strategy. Refreshing is the number one word. And I think it's important to have that point of difference. And as a vendor, that's what I look for when I employ a service, not just for property, but for anything. So yeah, it's been really really good for helping people out there, either that don't want to have the digital footprint or the sort of analogy of stepping onto a sprinting treadmill. They just want to take a step on first, or someone that maybe not, doesn't have $5,000-6,000 just to throw out the window at marketing to begin with.
100%. And, I hear the same thing over and over again from vendors that have been on the market with other agents. They've spent tens of thousands of dollars in marketing. And the last thing they want is the new agent to come on and go, okay, well, we need $20,000. We're just going to get you back onto the real estate portals. I'm always saying the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you've been on the market for too long, and understand it's very easy to switch agents if you're out of agency agreement, but we have a strategy for you and it's not going to cost you a single cent. And it's been enormously successful, enormously successful. That's the
Yeah,
show, Billy.
that's the show. If you'd like more
That's
information,
it.
let us know. We can send out some info for you.
Love to help. See you guys.
Bye.